Just as I put that last video on, that was going to be my review, I realized that my mic was muted. It's been quite a while since I've done a video game review, and I felt that it was necessary just because I've sunk a shitload of time into this game, as I'm going to show you in a second here. So yeah, this is my inventory basically. Level 40, I think that's the max level of the game. I could be mistaken, but I think it is. It doesn't look like there's much. I mean, there are still quests that I haven't completed, some synchronization points I haven't hit, but for the most part, I've beaten the main story of the game, defeated all the elephants, defeated all the Phalanges. I have the rare outfit that you get for doing all the star formations and finding the 50 rare fires. I got this rare saddle for beating some random side quest where you rescue a horse. I have all of my armor upgraded except for the hidden blade damage and one upgrade on the tool pouch. So just about all of the upgrades there. I wonder if there's probably a trophy for getting all the upgrades. I might as well. You know, I just need to sell off some things, buy some of those dumb gems from that really annoying kid with the camel. I got this weapon for killing there's animus glitches that allow you to get extra weapons, I guess. Anubis is always ready to receive those who get his blade. That's interesting. And this axe. You also get rare weapons for killing the Phalanges, which is pretty cool. So where to start? This was the first time Assassin's Creed took a break since the second game, because from Assassin's Creed 1 to 2, they took a break in the year 2008, and then they did the same thing in the year 2016. There's a random fire thing right here. Nice. That's the rare fire I was talking about, by the way. But so in 2016, last year, they had Watch Dogs 2, and they took a year to make this game and really kind of transform it. I'd say that the structure of it is more in line with, it's probably more in line with an RPG, to be honest, because you've got a leveling system, you've got quest systems. You really, what the fuck? I've been walking in the exact opposite direction. But the game is more in line with an RPG, and all the enemies scale. All of the enemies scale based on your level, which really for me, like, I don't know why I attempt to try and fight enemies that are way above my level, even though I'm not fit for it. Some of the previous Assassin's Creed videos I made, you guys probably saw me fighting some of the Phalanges when I was like 5 levels under, and I just used strategies of like knocking them off buildings or just shooting arrows and running away. It wasn't the it was probably time consuming, and people were probably like, why didn't you just level up and then kill them? Well, you know, you're probably right, but I don't know, for me, like, I see all the high level stuff, and like the game puts a play barrier where you can't access that until, you know, you do the main quest and you do the side missions that rank you up, and so they kind of make you go through the linear process of doing certain missions first to unlock other missions, which again is better for the series. In the past, I think it got kind of ridiculous with the way, you know, the combat system worked, and just the likability of the characters. I really think after Assassin's Creed 3, they didn't know what they wanted to do with this series. Without Desmond Miles as the focal point main character, it kind of just left the game in this giant limbo. And it was annoying because Assassin's Creed Unity had no present-day sequence, and then Assassin's Creed 4, you play that as that Abstergo employee. Syndicate, you had some more present-day. They introduced this plot with this clone Animus guy that the Templars were trying to raise, and Juno was involved. In this game, they finally fix it. You actually play as a woman who is with the Templars, but is kind of exploring the Animus on her own, and is taking matters really into her own hands of how she handles the Animus and everything in it. It's pretty interesting. just that we have a main character now after so long. I'm assuming because, you know, spoiler alert, this game of course leaves off on kind of a cliffhanger because a previous character from one of the past Assassin's Creed games comes to her and says, you know, follow me and, you know, abandon the Templars and learn from the Assassins, and she accepts the offer and finishes Bayek's story, which is the protagonist of this game, Bayek of Siwa, and this is the guy I'm playing as right now, and it's cool to see things from her perspective, generally speaking. You don't come out of the enemies too much. You will not escape! But it is interesting when you do get to see things from her perspective. You get to access emails. I mean, you get the email system from Assassin's Creed 2 where you can access things that are going on in the present-day world. In case you want to be caught up with the storyline. They don't generally give you a plot summary for the previous games. I mean, you could generally forget the whole Desmond Miles thing and just I mean, I think Juno's not even in this game. Some of the first Civilization people, there are a couple of, like, hidden tombs where you can activate mechanisms that show stories about the past civilizations, but generally, they're not talked about in this game. Even some of, like the Piece of Eden, some of the artifacts, they're not really delved into. One of the boss battles, the guy has it, which is a nice throwback, but they're not generally discussed. The theme of this game is basically your character loses his son to the Order, which is basically the starting ways that the Templars started, and it's a quest for revenge. The whole game is a quest for revenge. You're trying to avenge your son, you and your wife. You actually play some mission as Aya, who is Bayek's wife, and some of those missions involve sea battles, which are, there's only like 3 or 4 of them, but they kind of take after Black Flag's mechanics. Not much has changed there, but again, what has changed is the mechanics of the game. Again, just the quest system. Obviously, synchronizations and loading maps is back. But this time you have your little bird here, your eagle, which is cool because that's kind of like how the assassins are associated with eagle symbols because of Bayek's eagle. And he can show you where certain things are. Like right now he's flying over a hard leather, which is used to craft materials that I showed you earlier. I think that's probably a crocodile. And then, you know, there's other waypoints and stuff. And his vision is increased when you do the synchronization points. And you can also use him in combat situations. I didn't do, on my special abilities, again, very RPG-esque, I didn't really go for that. As you can see, I kind of, as that sound effect cued, I kind of did the warrior route. Again, there's a whole bunch of abilities here. It's all based on, you know, perk system, quest system. It really reminds me of Horizon Zero Dawn that I played earlier this year. Both games have very similar structures because, you know, just like in Horizon Zero Dawn, you have to hunt animals and species to get materials, then you can build armor and better weapons and certain stuff like that. And again, that was never in Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed was always just scavenging money, and then you just bought better armor and just, you know, your health increased with your experience. So, it was always based on an armor system. It was never experience or level-based, but this is a level-based system. And, you know, I think it's a better direction for the series to go, and I'm just looking forward to whatever location they go next. I'm hoping Japan, something Asian. I've always kind of had that interest for Assassin's Creed to kind of do that. And, you know, they kept going further and further in time, and I think once they hit the Industrial Revolution with Syndicate, I think it got to a point where it was just like, okay, if you go any further in the future, you're going to have advanced guns and weaponry that would be a bit absurd for an Assassin's Creed game. So they went all the way back in time to the era of Julius Caesar and Rome, which is pretty cool. And you actually get to see some of them. There are, you know, major characters and major political events that you take part in, just as the assassins are always secretly involved with them. So, you know, there's a lot to appreciate with the game. Combat system is also different. You can't just take... I feel like this game wants you to play things hidden. Like, they don't want you to go into a combat situation where you're fighting 12 guys. Because generally you die, even if you like get the dodge mechanics down, which are kind of like Dark Souls, you generally can't dodge everyone. Some soldiers, there's different classes. You've got the heavies, the archers, the guys with giant shields. And again, if you try to take someone on that's a higher level than you, then you're screwed. And you generally die quick. And even if you do stealth, you can't just stealth kill and stealth assassinate someone. it'll only take away a sliver of their health, and then they'll get up and try to kill you. So, yeah, it's just the combat system annoyed me sometimes because there were some situations where I was like, I cannot dodge this. Like, I'm hitting square, and you know, this guy has attack patterns that eventually he will hit you. You might dodge a bunch of his attacks, but if it's someone who has a multiple attack pattern, sometimes you just can't dodge it. You just cannot dodge it. And so those were some things that frustrated me. I mean, generally, once you get a diversification of weapons, like I'd say if you get like a heavy weapon like an axe and then balance that with also a sword, you can do lightweight combat as well as heavy combat to counter different enemies. But there are some enemies that you can't just wear down. You have to wait for them to fuck up. If you fight them one-on-one, if you don't, then you got to assassinate them in stealth. And I think this game, in my opinion, puts an emphasis on the stealth. Which isn't bad, because that's what assassins are supposed to be after all. So, I don't think the Assassin's Creed games ever really wanted you to jump into combat situations and be a tank. Maybe Assassin's Creed Brotherhood kind of yielded toward that kind of combat system, but not so much in this game. This game definitely wants you to take a more reserved approach and not fight 700 enemies at once. So Alexandria is probably like the main city in the game.
Without form. Is not true.
Generally speaking, I'd say, probably. Again, nice graphics. It, again, brings in characters from, you know, the modern era. It's just a generally enjoyable experience. There are microtransactions in this game. I don't know why. They're pretty useless. But, again, generally, there's a lot of side quests. I don't know if I can show you a list of side quests that I've completed 93 side quests. Or just quests in general. I mean, look. This is a very long list. I still have 3, 4, so 100 quests between the 3 side, the 4 main, and then the, well, actually, technically 98, but whatever, 97. But it's a lot of content. There's a lot of quests that I still haven't found, actually. So you could say there's over 100 quests in this game, which is good amount of content. They added a lot of underwater sequences. There's a lot of underwater treasure, and there's a lot of emphasis on the swimming, too, in some portions, where you can only access hidden areas with swimming. So the underwater segments, they've kind of added, like, underwater elements, much like GTA 5. Like, the, you know, GTA 5 had fully underwater segments with, like, the submarines. In this game, you can swim and generally hold your breath pretty long to explore these segments, which is interesting. The map is pretty diverse. You've got mountains, you got the deserts where there's hidden stuff in every area. The waters where you can raid boats. I did say there were a few missions where you fight large boats with a galleon, which is cool. Again, diversifies the gameplay, so it's just not the same thing all throughout. The question marks are like, places to loot. Secret enemies, like there's 4 elephants in the game you can fight, which are high level 40, I think the max, so, yeah. There's pyramids to explore, which you get 1 ability point whenever you complete the pyramid, and there's usually puzzles associated with the pyramids, which is classic, like almost like the hidden tombs from Assassin's Creed 2, it's kind of like an homage to that. The pyramids of Giza, the outfit that I have is from the Great Sphinx, but you have to do a lot of side content to unlock that. So, overall game, I won't try to go on too long about it, but, I think it's worth a purchase. If you've been kind of losing faith in the Assassin's Creed franchise, I think this is a good chance to get back into it. It's got, 40 plus hours of gameplay, and I've been playing this game for weeks trying to beat it ever since it came out, and, only now at the middle of December am I completing it, really, fully. It was only yesterday that I beat it, and I think it's a worthwhile purchase for anyone who wants it. And, there's, gladiator battles. Yeah, that's another component. There's 2 different gladiator arenas. One in Crocodilopolis and also in Cyrene, which is almost like a mini Rome, because there are certain towns that are controlled by the Romans up to the northeast, and then there's ones controlled by the Egyptians more in the southeast. So you got 2 different factions, which is pretty cool. They generally fight the same, but the Romans are harder, higher level, so... So that's about it for me. I didn't cover everything, but I tried to go over the main things that I liked about the game, some of the things I didn't like about the combat. the end of the game kind of felt anticlimactic from an ending perspective, but I will try to not spoil that. So, but that's about it for me. Thank you guys for watching. And I don't generally do game reviews, but I thought that it was necessary for this one just because I had a lot of fun playing it. And I hope that the next one is another unique location with unique gameplay, missions, and characters. So, thanks and peace.